Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the first session for the second day of VB. This morning, I just wanted to give a general reminder. Please set your technologies to stun. And we'll be hearing today from Adam Haertlé, got it right, about the life story of an IPT, an Inept Persistent Threat Actor. Everyone, please join me in welcoming Adam.
Welcome, everyone. First, I want to thank you for coming here. I know a party yesterday was good, and I know there are two great talks in the other rooms. If somebody is in the wrong room, please join the CCleaner talk or the Google talk over there. If you want to stay, I'll be very happy to deliver my talk for you. I'm Adam Haertlé. I'm a journalist, a blogger from Poland. I used to work for a large telecom company, but I quit my job a month ago to write articles about security. And I'm also a storyteller, and I wanted to tell you a story about a guy who I've been following for the last 5 years, and I've almost fallen in love with him and with his life. But first, let's go back to November 26, 2011, when Atlas V rocket is taking off from Cape Canaveral Air Force Station, and it goes to Mars, and it carries the Curiosity rover with it. On the very same day, somebody on the internet says there's a shop selling fake phones, or actually not selling, just offering at very discounted prices. And somebody else says, well, don't buy there, the company does not exist, the prices are way too low, just don't go, it's a fake shop. Then somebody jumps into this discussion. Apparently the owner of the shop says, we are a serious company, we're registered in the UK and we have a license for international sales. So there's no risk, you can go on and buy your phones with us. Unfortunately, a few days later, somebody says, well, I just lost about €1,000 at this shop, but the administrator name I was able to identify, and his name is Tomasz Tujaka. Please remember the name, it will be important a little bit later. So fast forward to May 24, 2012, Mars Science Laboratory goes to Mars, and our hero starts to looking for help with setting up botnets. This is a screenshot from a closed darknet forum in Polish, where the user Hunter248 asks the forum administrator, can you help me with setting up a botnet? I'll pay, how much? Unfortunately, 10 hours later, the same user, but with another alias, says, sorry, I already lost access to my account under the Hunter nickname. And it looks like it took him 10 hours to forget his password. It will be a pattern that we will follow today. Well, fast forward August 1st, 2012. Curiosity is now 5 days away from Mars. And our hero opens an account on HackForums. I guess everybody in the room knows it. It's a really good place to start your hacking career. He assumes the nickname of Magadan. He will change it later to DexSax, you'll see it. He gets a specific business model because he wants everything with no cost at maximum profit. Well, he's looking for some free cryptors, free VPNs, free VPS, free binders. Everything's free, he's interested in it. Well, after he makes some calculations, he decides, well, free is not always the best one. So he goes full Monty and wants to buy something. He wants to buy a botnet setup, a full package of a botnet. Well, perhaps some of you remember IRC botnets. He decides to go for an Athena IRC bot. And of course, he doesn't forget to mention a Skype name that he can be contacted under, which is Filip Tujaka. Remember, the first was Tomasz Tujaka. These are brothers, if you wonder why the first name changes. Well, he finally decides we've got a bot, we've got a cryptor. He's very satisfied with the service because, you know, on HackForums, the sellers are really friendly. They even help you by TeamViewer if you cannot set up your own botnet. So if you've got a bot, it's already encrypted. What's now? Well, you need to spread it. So spreading time. First, he impersonates Kaspersky Lab and says, there's an issue with every single browser in the world. Just download the patch and you will be safe. Of course, the website is safebrowser.tk. Looks very safe to me. Best regards, Kaspersky Lab. This is his signature at the very early days. Then another day, another campaign. This time he impersonates Allegro. This is a Polish eBay site, very popular in Poland, and says, well, your password was taken over. Just go to recover allegro.tk and download the program that will secure your account, which is, of course, a botnet client. Download new password generator. And people do download the new password generator, if you wonder. Then a day later, September 26, Curiosity is fighting heavy winds on Mars, collecting some probes. And our hero decides to talk to random internet users on our internet forum, where they were discussing his campaign. And he joins the discussion and says, yes, Kaspersky and Allegro was my job. I just downloaded 2 pictures from Google. It took me 5 minutes, and it was really effective. People do believe in my messages. Well, if you don't believe in his messages, he also decides to publish a screenshot of his botnet to prove his success to everyone on the internet, because he likes fame. And he publishes the screenshot with 5,000 hits on his landing page. Of course, not forgetting to mention his Skype name, because why not? And then he publishes a screenshot from an MRC client. Perhaps some of you remember. We used to go on each channels with that. And there's obviously like 70 to 90 bots there, and they are real. And the Skype, why not? And he brags about 900 infections and says he'll mine Bitcoin with the botnet. So we go quickly to the HackForums and look for new posts by our hero. And of course, he's interested in a Bitcoin miner. Mind the price, it's $1 only. So a really good business model. And there's a frustration also growing, because he's got a lot of technical issues. He knows nothing about computers, and he cannot connect to his routes, although his ports are open. Well, I don't know how he solves it, but finally he solves it. Small failures accumulate, and this time he cannot crypt his botnet because there's trouble with the end of file marker. He does not understand how to set it up, and the vendor is angry at him and says, well, I won't serve this customer. He's so stupid. Well, do you remember Schiaparelli landing? This was a probe that tried to land on Mars but hit really hard, and, well, nothing stayed of it except for the impact crater on the picture. Our hero has similar adventures because his VPS provider is changing the server. And the dialogue goes like, well, where's my server? Well, we're moving to a new one. Will I get a new IP address? Of course you will. So I will lose all my botnet clients. Okay, you didn't use dynamic DNS. Well, he didn't use dynamic DNS. He loses his botnet because of the server move. So sometimes you learn the hard way. So if you lose your botnet, what do? You spread a new one. Of course, a new campaign, this time impersonating, again, Allegro, which is really popular in Poland, and just download some software and best regards Allegro group, and people do download. Then he goes international because there are some brands that are more popular outside of Poland than Allegro, so he goes for PayPal. The website even has SSL in its name, so it's really secure. And of course, best regards, PayPal group, just download my botnet and please install it. And then one day he decides to go for Facebook, which is a popular brand everywhere, and he changes his signature to Andrew Jones, Stewardship Monitoring Section, Security and Server Administration Department. If it does look a little bit too sophisticated for him, yeah, it does. So why the new signature? Where does it come from? Well, I investigated a bit and found out that on the same forum he was discussing before, there was a guy saying, why do those all scammers don't do their job properly? Why do they use phrases like regards PayPal group? It's so stupid. They should use something more complex, like Andrew Smith, Stewardship Monitoring Section, Security and Server Administration Department. So he reads the comments by the other internet users and uses them to improve his tradecraft. And this will be his signature from the time for the next few years. Well, if you've got a botnet, and then you start making money with it. So February 2013, first commercial offer, he's selling Steam accounts. I'm not a gamer, I don't know if prices are good or not, but well, he had some customers buying those accounts from him. And he's looking for multiple monetization vectors. He promises to install software on his botnet. And on January 31st, 2013, he goes into his first romance with electronic banking because he starts attacking customers of the largest bank in Poland. The website looks very real, and of course, it's stewardship monitoring section that sends its kind regards to customers. The phishing landing page is quite simple. It's just a copy of the bank website. But once you provide the login and password, you get asked for 10 codes from a scratch card. The scratch card has 50 and he asks only for 10, so there's a 20% chance that he'll hit the right one. And if you wonder if people will scratch 10 codes and put them on the website, yes, they will. And a guy from this bank told me that once they had an attack where the customers were asked to put all 50 codes, and some customers did. So people do things like that, and he benefits from it. And in June 2013, he starts delivering his own services, like our Magadan spam service, because why not? He charges about $4 per 10,000 messages. I don't know if it's a good price or not. I never bought spam from a botnet. But anyway, the business is apparently good. Any astronomers in the room who can tell me what's in the picture? It's Andromeda galaxy. And Andromeda, by a chance, is also a botnet. And he changes from his Athena, because it was really simple, to something more complex. And as he made a lot of money, he spends $6 on Andromeda. It's a large investment for him. And he installs the Andromeda, and he's very satisfied with the support he gets on HackForums for it. And in July 2013, he already has 1,000 bots on this botnet. And then he starts publishing some screenshots, and it's August 15, it's almost 3,000 bots already, which is not that bad. 2 days later, it's more than 3,000 bots. And meanwhile, Curiosity takes very nice dune pictures on Mars, and our hero decides to start selling his botnet. I don't know why, but he offers 3,200 bots for $140. I think it's a bargain. If only I saw the ad at the time, I would buy it. But unfortunately, I missed the opportunity. I have no idea how this time he infected his customers. I looked through all the campaigns and all the possible infection vectors and couldn't find anything. But I found some posts of him saying that he uses RAR spreading and he's targeting gamers. So probably some hacks for CSGO or something like that were spread on some forums I'm not frequenting. Then suddenly he gets scammed on a scammer forum, which is quite probable, because he wants to sell a Ucash voucher. Some of you probably remember this internet kind of payment before Bitcoin became popular. And he sends the Ucash voucher to the buyer, but the buyer doesn't deliver the money. And our hero decides to publish the full screenshot of the conversation with the buyer and forgets to obfuscate the Ucash voucher number. So if you want to investigate him, then you have it. Then he decides to DDoS. Because he's got a botnet, he probably didn't sell it, and he has to make some money. And he threatens a small ISP. This is a message I was able to identify. And he wants to charge only €600 for not DDoSing him. But then he decides to DDoS some other companies. And here's a very, very good recommendation. If you host your botnet at a hosting company, please don't DDoS it. Because suddenly they become very interested in locating your CNC, and if they find it on their own network, they will take it down. So he loses his botnet again, sorry. And, well, he needs more money because he's got no botnet. So he decides to invest in a malware that will mimic an existing malware. And in Poland, there was a guy who invented a new malware that actually was looking at the clipboard of your computer for a pattern of a bank account number. And if you made a copy-paste of a bank account, it was looking for it in the clipboard and switched it for its own account number. So you could paste the malicious account number into your transfer. And our hero looks for somebody to write a similar code for him. And to show how it works, he links to a Third Poland movie showing the competitor at work. But suddenly, on a scammer's forum, he gets scammed again, which happens from time to time. Somebody takes his $6 and doesn't deliver the code. So he decides to publish the conversation again, using very professional obfuscation method like the paint bucket. And if you go on the website where the screenshot was published, it's some image hosting website, and it's like the path goes like screenshot something 04. If you go for 03, you get free the obfuscation. But there's nothing interesting in there, just a funny screen. And you can just check he's listening to Polish rap, which is not of very high quality. And then he decides it's time for exploit kits because they are fancy and he wants to be a big hacker. And he buys an exploit kit and he buys traffic geolocated for Poland. So I've got a screenshot of the results of the landing page of his exploit kit. How many infections do you think he got with it? Well, taking into account the story so far, well, it's 0, sorry. It didn't work, he was just unlucky. But he tries, he always tries, he never gives up. He gets another post for writing the same code to switch the clipboard account number. This time he goes big, he wants to pay $8 instead of $6 to get up on the market. And he apparently gets the job done finally, because Sect Poland a few weeks later writes an information that they've got a new actor with malware changing the account number in the clipboard, and it's distributed by Andromeda botnet. So it must be our hero. Then in May 2014, he gets really innovative because he's one of the first actors on the Polish market to use Word documents with macros. And he puts a post on my Facebook profile saying there was a big hack of a Bitcoin exchange in Poland, which is big news. Well, you can call him a prophet because the hack took place 3 years later. But if you want to check the details of the hack, of course, you have to enable macros in a Word document. I don't enable macros, so I don't get infected. Then he goes back to spamming the Allegro brand, and this time he really goes into detail because he puts a real-life auction title here for sellers from this website, and he of course keeps the signature, as you already know it, and the document says that your account was blocked. Please please enable macros to read the contents. If you check the metadata of both the Word file, you find his first name, and in the PDB path, in the binary, you also find his first name because he's Thomas anyway. And in July 15, he decides to invest in some Android Trojans, and it takes him a week to get to know how it works, and another campaign impersonating Kaspersky. This time Kaspersky is offering Android app to sniff your SMS messages with 2FA codes and send to the malware author. But apparently it doesn't work very well. It's the only Android campaign I was able to identify. Then he achieves perfection because his botnet has been deleted and removed and lost so many times that he's so proficient in setting it up that he starts selling his own botnet setup services. And the price is really good, I think $10 for a new botnet with full service, with high quality setup. And he even offers 24/7 support, anti-DDoS services, and whatever you ask, it's there. It's $10 only, so really a bargain. And Curiosity is still exploring Mars and taking those beautiful pictures. And our hero decides to go for a true APT attack. And I really mean an APT attack that involved Secret Service in Poland. Because this is a building of a district court in Poland, very close to the place our hero is born. And the court is deciding on a case where a family member of our hero is involved. And he identifies the people behind the case on the court. And he sends them messages with malware, he infects their computers, and he steals the case files. It's the only documented attack on a judicial system in Poland that actually succeeded. And some really serious security services are involved in investigating the case. But once they discover who did it, they just transfer the case to the regular police and don't care about it anymore. Our hero gets back to spamming. This time he impersonates some lawyers, and the impersonation is quite efficient because his malware has usually very complex structure. This time it was a pdf.pif file that downloaded another dropper, that downloaded an auto-id dropper, that downloaded finally Andromeda. And in one of the stages, it makes requests to a bit.ly link, so you can follow the statistics because he didn't make the account private. So you can see the clicks. I imagine some of your companies are in the statistics as well because, well, you analyze it. But I think a lot of lawyers actually do click the malware and run it. There's the screenshot from another campaign a week later. So he gets people infected. He's really effective and it works. Then in October 2015, he gives an impromptu interview. One of my friends working as a reverse engineer for a large Polish bank sits on a live binary of this actor, and suddenly a Windows pops up and the guy starts talking to the reverse engineer. And there's a huge compliment in the text where he says, since Adam started writing about my campaigns, the infection rate fell from 10% to 2%. So it means I do my job well describing what he does, and I'm really satisfied with it. Unfortunately, he refused to give me interviews despite many attempts to contact him. He doesn't want to talk to me. This was the only one I was able to get. And in December 2015, he suddenly pops up his game and he starts offering Microsoft Office exploits. And the exploits are, of course, any malware compatible because they are really high quality. And except for a macro exploit, he's also offering a silent exploit, which means he's got probably a 0 day for Microsoft Office, which could be a really nice finishing touch to his career. But if you look at the movie he published, I will save you from watching the whole movie, it's terrible, but just a few screenshots. He runs the Word document and then he silently switches off the macro, switches on the macro function, and this is how the silent exploit actually works. And at the end of the movie, you get a glimpse at his desktop where you could actually identify all of his campaigns. I was talking about all of his malware, all of his VPN providers, all of his databases he's using for spamming. Well, like actually everything's there. And he had a really solid profile on HackForums until recently, where he got banned, which is really sad for me because I cannot follow him there anymore. And he probably got banned for dealing with credit cards, which is a big no-no on HackForums. If you don't want a big red cross from FBI on your back, you don't deal with credit cards on the internet. So he lost his account. On the same day his account was closed, Curiosity drove 20 meters on a nuclear food plateau in Mars, taking those beautiful pictures. And I'm totally not saying our guy lives there, and I'm totally not saying these are his pictures from Facebook profile. And there's an issue with getting him. He's still active. I'm not at liberty to tell you everything I know about his current campaigns because of what's happening in the background. But if you see VJ Worm, he was, it's a JS rat. He was the second ever user to use it. If you see Vortex or Flotera ransomware, he's the only author and user of it. You can be sure you're following my friend. And if you see something like a PDF that tries to download a JavaScript, that downloads an HTA file, that downloads an exe, which is an auto-it, which drops a dropper, then drops a dropper, then drops a dropper, and then drops something you don't recognize, I'm sure it's him because he doesn't understand it either. He just uses everything he can because well, apparently the more droppers and scripters you use, the better anti-detection in antivirus product is. And he's still at large, and it's really complex issue. And he's abroad, and what he does not qualify him for a European warrant yet. And Polish prosecutors are working on the case. So I hope next year I'll be able to show you some more details about his current campaigns and his picture in handcuffs. But still, he's at large. I need to thank all the people that allowed me to make this show possible. Security guys from hosting companies, from banks, from CERT teams, and especially from CERT Poland, because they were great. And I think we've got a few minutes for your questions.